Hi, welcome along to World Cup Daily, the show where we take a look at the World Cup news and also Arsenal news as well. And it's truly amazing after watching that game last night, Spain versus Chile, to see the World Cup holders, the European champs, go home after only two games is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, who could have predicted that before the tournament started? And fair play to Chile. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. I said this to a couple of people yesterday that I thought it's going to be a very difficult game for Spain, because I saw Chile in that first game and they were awesome. And they were even better last night. The way they closed down, I mean, they didn't give Spain a second piece. And I think it looks as if teams have kind of sussed out Spain in a way, because they realised that you can't give Spain any time whatsoever to play their tiki-taka football. They closed them down, they had pace, they were intense, and they were the deserved winners. Spain didn't really deserve to get anything out of the game. And the chance that fell to Spain, that was missed, I mean, it was absolutely unbelievable, that chance that was missed. I think it was by Busquets. And once they missed that chance, I knew they were dead. And what's happened to Casillas? I mean, he's been linked with Arsenal, Casillas, but the mistakes that he's made in the tournament, and even before the tournament, in the Champions League final as well, I mean, is it because he's hardly played any games last season for Real Madrid, or is he on his way down? I don't know, but definitely Spain dumped out of the tournament, a real shock. And the interesting thing for me last night, two interesting things. First of all, Diego Costa turned his back on Brazil to go and play for Spain. Remember, it's not like even say the Januzaj situation where it was a choice of playing for Belgium or England, or a choice of playing for Albania or England. You turn down Brazil, in Brazil. The tournament's actually in Brazil, and you turn down the country of your birth to go and play for Spain. And let's face it, he's been a total disaster in the tournament. He's been awful. And, you know, have Arsenal dodged the bullet here? I mean, he had a great season last season, and I know you shouldn't just judge it off of a tournament, but he looked very ordinary. Definitely didn't look like he's worth the £35 million that Chelsea paid. Obviously, we'll find out next year. But it was really, in effect, he's had one good season, and yesterday and the other previous games, he's looked very ordinary indeed. And also, the other interesting thing for me was the fact that when Spain needed to get back into the game, they didn't bring on Cesc Fabregas. They brought on Santi Cazorla. In fact, they dropped Javi, and they didn't also, in dropping Javi, bring on Fabregas. So what does that tell you as well? As Fabregas dropped down a lot in the ratings, are we've been getting excited over Fabregas because of past times, and the actual Fabregas of now is still a very good player, but not the player he once was. Very interesting things to come out of that game. Also, some other great games yesterday. I thought Australia were absolutely brilliant against Holland. I think they're very unlucky not to get something out of that game. A goal by Cahill, brilliant. And I really felt it for them. Holland managing to get the win in the end, but it just shows there's no easy games in this World Cup. It's really tough. And of course, Croatia versus Cameroon last night. I actually watched that game with Mo, superfan Mo, and I couldn't believe Alex Song. What was he doing with that stupid elbow MMA style into the back of Mandzukic? I mean, absolutely idiotic. Deserved to be sent off, and in effect just sent his team home with that ridiculous decision. And also Akoto, who used to play for Spurs, fighting his own player on the pitch. I mean, Cameroon, they were terrible. I mean, even before the tournament, they were arguing about not coming because they haven't received bonuses, etc. They just showed you what happens when a team is not unified, and they are also on their way back home, or will be on their way back home after the next game. And interesting, looking at some of the players that played last night, Mandzukic is a player. He scored 2 goals last night. He's been linked with Arsenal, and I was analysing him last night. He looks okay, but as I've said before, he's too similar to Giroud for me. I mean, he scored 2 good goals yesterday. He looked very good yesterday, but he's not got pace. He's very similar to Giroud in that aspect. and he's a target man player, and we've already got a target man player in Giroud. So I don't really see the sense in Mandzukic in bringing in another similar type of player. And then also on the rumours front, Balotelli has been linked again today. Balotelli's been once again, I mean, it's every day in, day out, we're hearing these rumours about Balotelli. This time we're hearing that Arsenal are prepared to pay him £180,000 a week to bring him in. You know, we're going to have to watch this space on that one. But Mandzukic has been linked. And another player that I was watching really closely last night and thinking to myself, could this guy be the answer for Arsenal as well? And that was Sanchez for Chile. I was really, really impressed by him in both games. He is an excellent, excellent player. And if Barcelona are willing to sell him, which is the rumours are they are willing to sell him, I think Arsenal should go out there and get in there with this guy. He's world class. Alexis Sanchez is a world class player, and he will score loads of goals in the Premier League. His strength, his power, his pace, and his finishing, he is made. And you know, I would love to see him as well. Arsenal, Alexis Sanchez. Of course, we move to the big game tonight. England, that do or die game. I mean, in effect, it's knockout football for England right now. They've got to win this game tonight against Uruguay. Of course, Uruguay will have Suarez back, but what kind of Suarez will they have back? Are they just rushing him back? We saw Cavani in the first game, very good player, but hasn't been on the best of forms. Listen, England have got to go for it. Put Sterling in there, put the pace in there. Let's go for it. Let's win this game. I mean, there was this debate we've been having, and I did a video with Mo last night. Should we pay Wayne Rooney? I reckon we've got to put Rooney in there, to be honest. Although it does seem like we've been accommodating him, but I would play him in that number 10 role, and I'd move Sterling out wide because Sterling can cause damage out wide and make them interchange as well. But England have got to win this game, and in a game where you've got to win, Rooney, even though he hasn't really scored goals for England, can score goals, and I think he's got to play. But it is a massive game. I mean, the whole of England tonight is going to be on lockdown. He's going to be on absolute lockdown. If you go out after 8 o'clock tonight in England, you'd be lucky to see anybody on the streets because everybody's going to be watching this game. And if England can pull this off, it'd be brilliant. We're going to be watching the game down at Riley's, down at Haymarket in London's West End, if you want to come and check us out. And we'll be doing some interviews with fans afterwards. But we're really hopeful that England can pull this off. And let me just get into a couple of the comments there. We've got Alexis Pendleton. He says, hello again, Robbie. What are your thoughts on the World Cup so far? The highlights? What would make it better from your point of view? He says, great job with the with all this World Cup and Arsenal analysis. Must be a challenge to do so much in such a little time. It is a challenge, but we enjoy the challenge. We're always up for a challenge here. And listen, the World Cup has been absolutely brilliant. I've loved every minute of it. I've loved all the games. I mean, we've only had 2 0-0 draws. We've had shocks. I mean, look at Australia yesterday, how good they were. I mean, to me, every team, you know, has raised their game. Well, apart from Cameroon, but you know, every team seems to have raised their game, and I've really, really enjoyed the tournament. And ways of improving it, wow! I'll tell you what, you go far too hard to improve this tournament. It's just been that good. I've really enjoyed it. Manzilla48 says, I say play Rooney in his preferred position or don't play him at all. I agree with you. He's not a winger. He's a striker. I agree with you 100% there. Asis says the same way Spain play is a similar way to Arsenal at times. That's true. We got hammered by Chelsea, Liverpool, and Everton. All the teams that play counter-attacking style. Goes to show we need a plan B, A, and C. Wenger needs to prove his tactical nous, adapt, or we won't win anything. Well, that's very smart there, drawing an analysis, because he's right actually. In that game against Liverpool last year and Chelsea, we thought we'd have loads of times on the ball, etc., and we got absolutely. What Chelsea did to us was very similar to what Chile did to Spain yesterday. No time, no space, and counter-attacking football. And you do need to have a plan B. I agree with you 100% there, Asis. Magama 14 says it's the end of Spain's domination of world football. Who's going to be the new #1? Wow, I'll tell you what, it's hard to call. I still think Brazil could pull it off. I was very impressed with the Germans as well, but it's getting really, really interesting to see who is going to win this World Cup. You just can't really call it at the moment. Euroscape1 says, he goes, who should we get? Javi Martinez or Mario Mandzukic? Javi or Martinez all day long. To me, we've got to go out there and you know, bring in a holding midfielder. Packer Punch says, top guy Robbie, who do we replace Vermaelen with, Ginter or Miguel? I'd say neither of those two. I'd say if Vermaelen does go, I'd be looking at somebody like Virgil van Dijk, maybe, the player who plays up there in Celtic, or maybe Steven Corker. I think those would be two good options as your sort of backup, central defenders. Ron Paul Sweet says, will we get Balotelli or Sanchez? Well, that is the $1,000,000 question. Will we get any of those? The Balotelli thing is hotting up, so you never know. That may happen. William says, what do you think about Cameroon's Asu Akoto? I think it was an absolute disgrace yesterday, headbutting your own player. I mean, I know, you know, there's frustrations and things like that, but to headbutt your own player is absolutely disgraceful by an experienced player like Akoto, and just summed up the Cameroon team. Really, really disappointing. Talented guys, but just no team ethic. And the last one, the 1L3 legend says, do you think this is the end of the Tiki-Taka era? You know what? I think it is. I think it is. I think you can't just go out there now and just do that sort of slow type, Tiki-Taka type football and win games. We've seen it. Barcelona have struggled. Spain have struggled. Now, I think you've got to mix it up a bit. The team that I see that mixes it up so well has been Germany. They've got that sort of tiki-taka. When they're ready, they pass it around, keep the ball for long periods of time, but also they can go direct, they've got pace, they can switch it long. I think that is going to be the way to go right now, because if you're just going to just rely on just strictly tiki-taka, teams are going to get in your faces more if they've got their high energy levels, and you can become unstuck. And last one here, Ram Sketch says, greetings from Texas to my fellow Gooners. Greetings to you as well. Just before I go, I've got to mention what's happened to Ian Wright, a friend of, I call him a friend of mine now, of course, an Arsenal legend as well. Really, really sad to hear what happened to his family yesterday. Robbed at knife point in their home by burglars, and they got away with a load of valuables, etc. Ian Wright has had to rush home from Brazil. Imagine that, you know, a legend like that, and you know, somebody's going to rob his house. I'm sure they would have known it's his house as well. They've got to rob his house, stuck his family up by a knife point. I mean, it must have been absolutely terrifying. And Ian Wright has had to rush home to come and deal with that. And when the guy is out there trying to concentrate on the football, enjoying the World Cup, working hard, and something like this happens, it's absolutely terrible. So hearts and you know, feelings go to Ian Wright and his family at this time, and I hope to God that the police can catch these fools and lock them up for a very, very long time. It's all about England tonight. Hopefully England can do it. We'll be back tomorrow with another World Cup Daily. Come on, England!